Alright, good evening and welcome to the first round of the ASR FT50 challenge here in R-Factor 2. Now, this is test stream. It's not really going to be something... I'm not sure if it's something I'm going to be doing on a full-time basis for the rest of the series, but thought, well, I've been trying so hard to get this broadcast tool working that now that I have got it working to a workable degree, I might as well fire it up. So here we are. It is a qualifying session, so I do apologise that the times at the moment aren't coming up. Still 2 minutes left in the session. So let's just get stuck in and have a crack and see what's going on here. So currently Tony Benelli, fastest man out on the circuit, but looks like he's gone back with pits and going for another run. Got Wills at a purple first sector here. But alright, here we are. This is the second race of the evening, or qualifying for the second race of the evening. And time's very, very quick here at the newly updated Lime Rock Park. As you can see, looking pretty good. We've got yellows out in sector 1. Don't have a track map up to show you guys at the moment. Benelli currently fastest. Rosella second fastest. Will. See improvement in the mid sector, but losing a little bit of time in the first. What can he do towards the end of the lap? He doesn't find any time. Still finds himself half a second away from Tony Benelli. Good to see a new name at ASR giving it a crack. Got Luke Purple in the middle sector. Steve Warwick, another man who's looked actually quite handy in these cars and in R-Factor 2. He's got gone purple in sector 1 as Luke Rosella just improved slightly, but we cut to Steve Warwick. As you can see, purple in the first sector, but he's actually lost quite a bit of time in the mid sector. But he'll be looking just to improve on his own time anyway. Does he do it? Does, but not by as much as he would have preferred. And got Benelli out on the circuit as well here. And he's gone just faster overall, 7,000ths of a second faster than his already quick time. Actually, faster than Will's time, actually. So, Will's jumped up, as has Rosella, and now Benelli has responded straight away. So, top 3 within a 1/10 of a second. Very, very tight here. Purple final sector getting Benelli over the line there. Those that are watching along, please let me know if there are any issues with the stream, because it's the first time I've really broadcasted in R-Factor 2 here. Really having a big go over the curves. He's up by almost a 1/10.5 in the first sector. He's lost time through the chicane in sector 2. He's still in striking distance of improving. May get a little bit of assistance from the slipstream from the car in front. Not sure who that is. To the line though. And no improvements. And Luke Rosella was the car in front of him. He actually went purple in that middle sector there, but couldn't find enough time to move up, and in fact lost a bit of time in the final sector. So that is qualifying done and dusted. Looks like Rosella just getting a little bit of extra practice in here for this one. But with all that done and dusted, that gives us just a little bit of extra time. If I can find a suitable camera here. In fact, that one will do. To give the session results from the first race of the night. This was from Indianapolis, of course. So do ignore the top right hand thing there. We are at Lime Rock at the moment, but the first round of the series was from Indianapolis, the road circuit, not the oval. And Tony Benelli taking out the win, with Will about a second behind. Steve Warwick fair ways off, as was Orchard, Luke Higginson with Rosella and Glenn Miles both a lap down. Cracker a late DNF and Taipan a DQ after an incident with Higginson. But was fairly competitive up and down the field. If it wasn't for a couple of mistakes, we would have seen Luke Rosella probably up there with Benelli and Will, just like he is here in qualifying for Lime Rock. And as you can see there, Steve Warwick doing a really good job. And Higginson was actually pretty handy as well, but got caught up in a couple incidents, unfortunately for him. But also just go over the qualifying results after that one. So Tony Benelli topping the timesheets, 47.540, and you can see very, very tight with Will, 47.577, with Rosella, 47.621. Bit of a gap down to Termo, but he's only got a couple tenths between himself and Steve Warwick, with Mishra another, well, not even half, well, yeah, half a tenth away from Steve Warwick, a couple tenths to Nathan Higginson. Then we have Luke, and then we have a Randy blowing Nick Van Galen in 9th place, with Cracker in 10th position. And we do have Glenn Miles and Taipan also in the server as well, but looks like it's just decided to not flick over. Actually, no, we can flick over. Can we? Next page. There we go, flick over the page. And then we have Glenn Miles and Taipan. So Taipan didn't set a time. Glenn Miles 7.6 seconds away. And if it comes up properly, no, it's not going to come up properly at the moment. I did try and have a schedule up. I did write it out, but obviously I've not done it correctly. But that's something for another time. Just playing around with this here. Alright, so update that later. We'll just cut to just some onboard footage here. Luke Rosella for an onboard lap here. So coming through turn 1, which is double apex now, through turn 2. Again, you want to double apex this one. Don't go too wide on the exit because you need that good run here down to, on this layout anyway, the apex chicane. The driver's been using a fair amount of curb, but you don't want to use too much to stunt your momentum coming out of that corner. And then we have the final 2 turns. These are fun in just about any car. Too much curve for Rosella on this occasion, having a big go. That's able to get through there nicely. And the final corner, I'd imagine, easy flat in these FT50s. I must say that Studio 397 done a really good job here, revamping this circuit. Much improved, and dare I say it looks better than the iRacing one. We've got a little bit of lap traffic, slow traffic for Luke Rosella. Actually a couple tenths away from Mr. Benelli here. Up session here, so as you can see, not too long left, less than 30 seconds, and now there is a pit stop requirement in this one. In the first race there was not. There was no requirement to pit in the shorter of the races at Indianapolis, but here in race 2 of the evening there is. So this race will be, I think, 35 minutes long, if memory serves me correctly. And all drivers now just coming into the pits here. And that is the end of the session. We'll just wait for all drivers to cross the start-finish line or return to the pits, and of course for the session to tick over into the race session. So 12 drivers attempting this one. And with the grid being set, let's run through the starting order for this one. So Tony Benelli will start from pole position with Will alongside him. Luke Rosella and Termo will share the second row. Third row, Steve Warwick and Urjit Mishra, followed by Nathan Higginson in seventh, followed by Luke Joyner. You will see some custom liveries in this one. You just don't see it in the menu. Nick Van Garland, the blow-in, he'll start ninth with Cracker 10th. He's having some downshift issues. Hopefully they're sorted for this one. And then Glenn Miles there, he'll start from 11th place with Type Band, who wasn't able to set a time, starting last and 12th. Alright, with that done and dusted, let's get trackside here. So again, this will be I believe a 35-minute timed race. Hopefully these guys give me plenty to talk about in this one. But yeah, again, just to reiterate, this is just a test stream. I've been trying for ages to get this broadcast tool to work for rFactor 2, and jumped in the server tonight after my wheels stuffed up instead of driving. So I've jumped in and actually got it to work. So good to see. Drives the form out. Now this circuit doesn't have it doesn't have as you can see grids here, because normally in real life they run rolling starts in the main races, and it uses you know, track days and all that stuff. So here we go, 35 minutes about to get underway here. Away we go. And into turn one they come. Will leads the way. Benelli gonna lose out, gonna try and go around the outside. Couple cars off the back there. And looks like Higginson involved. And who else? We'll just cut to a replay. See what happens there. So just bear with us here for a moment. So right on board Higginson, looks like he's on an absolute heater of a start here. He's stuck 3 wide in the middle. Oh, and he's going to turn in with a car there. And well, that's the end of that chapter for Higginson. But he's now right behind Urjit Mishra. This looks like a bit of debris just flicking by him there. He's going to look to get a move done. Will leads the way. A little bit of aero wash there for Higginson. He's ran wide, and well, that buys Mishra just a little bit of time. But at the front, Devonish leads the way. Benelli in second, followed by Rosella. They've gapped Van Garland and Termo, who's dropped a spot here in this one. And got yellows out there in sector 1. Looks like Glenn Miles has gone off, judging by that. Benelli now starting to apply the blowtorch to the rear end of Devonish, and Luke Rosella also is even closer to Benelli. He'll look to set up a move into turn 1. And so it looks like Van Garland's lost a couple of spots. He may have gone off on Termo as well, so maybe something has happened with those guys there. A move gone awry maybe. So Rosella shows the nose, tries to force a mistake from Benelli, but Benelli too smart for that one. Benelli in fact looking quite handy here in this first sector here. And so still got yellows out. He's going to get Garland off, and then Will, a big tank slapper, and he is around. And thankfully for him, there's actually quite a number of gaps on the circuit, but he may have stalled it. He may have stalled it. No, he's got it going again. Took him a little while. He's actually going to lose out to Steve Warwick here. Steve Warwick, who actually does have a custom livery on his car. Got the Black Shores on the side pods, and Termo, he's another one with a custom livery. He's actually got Chico, good old Chico rolls on the side of his beast. So a bit of work to do now for Devonish in this one. And from what I've been hearing as well, it's actually going to, race is going to be quite tight on fuel. But nearly now into the lead. Can he edge away from Rosella? Rosella able to stick with him for now. Manelli's just missed the turning point at the penultimate corner. Encouragement for Rosella. Can he get the nose in? He can. He's used the curb, which has stunted his momentum just a little bit. And fastest lap of the race, 47.7 for Rosella. So nothing between these guys at the moment. So Warwick now actually a little bit further behind, starting to come under a bit of pressure. There's another yellow flag out in the final sector. Just has been cleared. Guessing that was a Cracker. Looks like he jumped down a spot. Let's try and get some extra shots here on board, but none of them all that good. But Will's had a fantastic run through the penultimate corner, and Warwick now going to have to go defensive now. Now the pit straight. A little bit of contact between the two as they go through turn one. Will's a little bit wide there. He has to cover at turn two. Will gets the job done. But he's got quite a ways to Taipan, who's worked his way up into third position. So as you can see there, Taipan up 9 spots from the start. Will down 2. Warwick, Mishra and Higginson all stayed in the same position, and Termo has jumped down 4 spots, unfortunately for him. Looks like we've had Van Galen also drop out in this one, unfortunately, but obviously he was just a blow-in. But hopefully he enjoyed the short amount of time that he spent with us. So here's Termo in the Chico Mobile. Hopefully get a nice good look at that. There we go. Bit of Chico action there. He's quite a ways off. And in fact, Rosella's found his way into the lead here. So I'm just going to cut to a replay. And looks like he's ahead of him here anyway. So what's happened, unbeknownst to me, not been paying too much attention to the timing clearly. And Benelli very ragged there through the uphill chicane. As we come back live, and Steve Warwick, fastest lap of the race, has just been overtaken by Will. But a little bit of slipstream action, and unfortunately he's then thrown it away into turn one, and he's literally into the boonies down there at turn one. So your feature of Lime Rock Park is that quite a lot of the circuit down there at turn one doesn't feature any kind of barriers or walls. Almost found himself very deep in the forest down there, but he's managed to keep it going, and he hasn't lost too much time. But a bit of work to do as Rosella now sets a new fastest lap of the race as Warwick goes, takes an interesting line over that chicane. So field's just spread out just a little bit at the moment. But Will now Devonish the man to watch. He's got a bit of time to make up, but he is closing in on Taipan. And his last lap was actually a fraction away from the fastest lap of the race as well. So his mistake will be ruining quite a lot, because Rosella only half a tenth faster on that fastest lap of the race last time around. And he's actually another fastest lap. And Will's not too far behind here either. He did a personal best in sector 1. Lost a little bit of time in the middle sector, but travelling along very, very nicely. Unfortunately for him, he just finds himself 16 seconds off the lead now. But next car down the road is Taipan. The next direct car in front of him, I believe, is Lap Traffic. Sure who that is. Might be Luke, I think. So what can he manage this time around? Across the line, 47.6 again. So that would have been the fastest lap of the race 2 laps ago. But Rosella has, of course, dipped into the 47.5. So again, very, very close to the Rosella and even Benelli pace. But that mistake costing him dearly. Has caught up to the back of Taipan though. So right on board. Will Devonish, Taipan. Lambert's all over the curve there. Also a bit of lap traffic just in front of them as well. Looks like Benelli's dropped off the back of Rosella as well. Hasn't been able to go with him. There's Taipan on the curbs of the final corner. That would have cost him a couple Ks. And he's going to think about a move into turn 1. You have to be pretty brave. It's not a heavy braking zone, as I think there's a car off there. And that'll be, I think that's Glenn Miles down there in that car. Indeed it is. And we are at sector 1. Let's compare the last lap there. 49.8 compared to 48.2. That was still half a second off Will's best as well. Taipan, fairly decent job so far. So looks like we've got a car trying to enter the pits, but instead it's in the fence. A big accident there. Not sure who that was. It's just that's Cracker by the look of it. DNF. So Cracker is late call to go in the pits. Ooh, that's a big hit there. And unfortunately for him, he's now out of the race. And out of all that, Devonish has got himself ahead of Taipan, and he stretched that gap out quite a bit now. I did think for a moment there's going to be a nice battle between Higginson and Mishra, but Mishra on that last lap looks like he's just edged away a little bit from Higginson. Yeah, 4/10 faster on that last lap. We've got to the yellow in sector 3. So we do have Turmo though, starting to close in on Steve Warwick as well though. Warwick may have made another mistake somewhere. There's another fastest lap for Luke Rosella now. He's now 4 seconds ahead of Benelli. Yellow's out in sector 1, and that is Glenn Miles off the road. And he's not moving. Let's just cut to a bit of a replay. Ooh, he's had an off there, the penultimate corner there. Marshall should be waving a yellow flag in that situation, but he's too busy having a yarn. And, well, he's just gone straight across the road there, so he's not really going anywhere, and he's still parked there. Oh, you can hear a car coming. Oh, dear, he's in a very precarious position here. Spinelli's actually gone purple in sector 1. Now, he does eventually get it going. Fastest lap of the race for Tony Benelli. on that last lap with Rosella in a bit of traffic there. He was able to claw back 1.4 seconds. The gap now back under 2 seconds, at least for the moment. And we've got Higginson in the pits. So here we go. And that is for... maybe for a drive-through, actually. It doesn't look like he's stopped. Also looks like Taipan's made a mistake as well somewhere. He's dropped a little bit further a ways off, and he's actually got Mishra starting to hunt him down as well. And Termo has... I thought he'd caught onto the back of Warwick, but it looks like he may have... yeah, he's made a mistake in the middle sector there. He's got 5 seconds in fact. And he's coming into the pits. Does a better job than Cracker, thankfully. And in he comes in the Chico Mobile. So how long will this stop be? Nice of R Factor 2 to include that in the HUD. Also Benelli into the pit lane. Still not even at the halfway mark of this race just yet. So 5.5 seconds it took for Termo. Benelli looks like he's going to try and undercut Luke Rosella. Well, here goes 7.2 for Benelli, so maybe adding a little bit of fuel. And got yellows out in sector 3. It's Glenn Miles again, and he's going to come straight back into the pits. No, he's not. He's going to continue on. Oh, we got Rosella in the fence! In the fence hard, and that is his front wing gone. Dear, oh dear, just overdriving it there. We'll cut to a replay. He'll be straight into the pits for that. Can't drive an open wheel car that's designed to have wings. And let's just see what he's done here. He's got on the grass, trying to use too much of the road. And he's in the fence, and he's off at turn 1. He hasn't realised he's ripped his front wing off, and he's out. Disaster for Rosella in the championship. And now that's Will in the lead. Benelli had set a purple final... well, he hadn't set a purple final sector, but he'd actually been going pretty quickly on his outlap. But that's it. Luke Rosella done. As we've got Steve Warwick in the pits. So Will in the lead. And we've got Mishra and Taipan starting to duke it out here. So Taipan, Richard Mishra, and Benelli has now caught the back of these guys. Benelli on fresh tyres. And straight up the inside of Mishra as he runs wide there. Right behind Taipan. Mishra will be hoping to follow him through. Mistake from Taipan. He's had to cut the chicane there after that lockup. Devonish will be hoping that Taipan can do him just a little bit of a solid here and hold him up for a couple laps. As Will Devonish now into the pits. But Benelli can be patient because his main rival for this one, after Devonish's mistake early on in this race, is out. And up the inside goes Benelli, and he's got the job done there. Now Mishra and Taipan will resume their battle uninterrupted. Oh, and again another mistake for Taipan. Big lock up into the uphill chicane on the grass before the penultimate corner. You don't want to do that. We saw pretty much race-ending crash from Rosella doing the same thing. And they're both in. No. Mishra just wanting a bit of the slipstream, but Taipan coming in, hopefully slowed down enough there. What can Mishra do now in clear air? Now Glenn Miles also coming in. So Higginson and Mishra now the only drivers yet to have pitted. We got a penalty for Taipan. I think he's come into the pits just a little bit too hot there. Did catch him just mucking on the pit lane speed limit a little bit late there. And unfortunately that's going to kill this battle between himself and Mishra. And out of that whole ideal, Devonish has actually made up a few seconds on Benelli, who had to pick his way through the Mishra Taipan battle. So he's actually claimed about 3 seconds, maybe even 4 seconds out of all of that. But he's got a bit of work to do. He will have the better tyres in the second half of the race, but around this circuit that's not even 50 seconds long, unlikely he's going to claw that time back. Unfortunately, at the moment, not too much happening out on the circuit. Still waiting for a number of drivers to pit. As we've seen Mishra come in, and we're still, of course, waiting for Higginson to do his pit stop as Benelli now new fastest lap of the race, and I think that's actually the fastest time we've had all night at this circuit, 47.2. So Benelli travelling along quite nicely. And he's extended his lead over Devonish now. Now, it's irrelevant now. Would have been interesting to see where Taipan would have come out. Or where Mishra would have come out with relation to Taipan, but Taipan's coming in and serving his penalty. Hopefully it's a stop go, so it's very, very harsh. Must have come in quite quickly. So Higginson actually now got Mishra right behind him, but of course he's not done his compulsory pit stop. He did drive through the pits earlier on in this race. And we've got a penalty for Steve Warwick. So I'm going to hazard a guess that he's used track limits too many times, because he's still only 30 odd seconds off the lead. Or has he? Has he gone to serve a penalty and not done it correctly, or come in too quickly? Yeah, because he's gone to do a drive. No, this is live, my mistake. So I'm going to hazard a guess that he's cut the chicane one too many times there. So closest battle on track now between Mishra and Higginson. But Higginson still needs to pit in this one. It's a compulsory pit stop. Defends the inside with gusto. Mishra now trying to force a mistake. Using all the road, all the tricks in the book to try and set up a better exit, but he's going to muck up his run up the hill now with that line coming out of turn 2. Now really his best bet is again into turn 1. Higginson missing the apex there. It's a little bit of extra camber the closer you get to the curb on the inside there, and he's missed it again at the final corner. And again, straight to the inside. Mishra not following him for the slipstream. He's going to have to go the long way here. It's Higginson, in fact, closing that off as well. And there is both 49s on that last lap, so these guys are not travelling too quickly. Oh, a bit of contact between the two. And, well, I'll keep going. But I think there's quite a bit of a difference, a speed difference between these two drivers at the moment. Mishra on a fresh set of boots, and Higginson, he's been on his tyres for 23 minutes now. And let's keep going here. Just double check. Yeah, so Higginson, sorry, still yet to make his compulsory pit stop in this one. So he's waiting till the last gasp to get that done and dusted. Gap at the front, still about 12.5 seconds. So Devonish has got some time back. Guessing probably through a little bit of lap traffic, but then it's just stagnated at around 12.5 seconds. Shame he made that mistake early on, but that's motor racing. Also a shame that Luke's out of this one as well. And some more yellow flags out there in the final sector. But once again, Mishra looking to reload. Once again, close up onto the back of Higginson. Doesn't really have to overdrive it here because he's well ahead of Turmo. And it's not really going to catch Will in this one. So Higginson right out sideways as he does some lawn mowing. The exit of 4. Not close enough to capitalise, but he is close enough to try and set up a move again for turn 1. He's not going to be close enough for the penultimate corner. You don't really want to try and pass him in the final corner unless the driver in front makes a catastrophic mistake coming out of penultimate corner. He's close enough now though. He's pulled to the inside. Higginson now not defending it, but there's yellows in sector 1. That's not an ideal line for Mishra. They're slightly overdriving it now. So once again, looks like that gap has come down between first and second, but still it's a bridge too far for Devonish to close that gap down. So yeah, Mishra just a little bit ragged at the moment. And Higginson now pulling to the inside and into the pits. So unfortunately, that's the end of that one. And just trying to have a look at the moment, see the closest battle on track. And it looks like it's about 5 seconds between Warwick and the car he's just ahead of, behind. Car off there, car around, who is that? It's Luke, I think. And he's off again. That's a long way to the fence, but he's fortunately found it there. So it looks like Turmo versus Higginson will be the battle to the end. Higginson on a nice fresh set of tyres, and he will follow Turmo's slipstream, so we're going to see plenty of snakies, I imagine, between these two. Oh, Turmo's wide though, and there goes that battle. He's just come in a little bit too hot at turn 1. And, well, he's in fact lost 2 spots, so he's got a bit of work to do to catch up to Steve Warwick. In fact, we'll cut to a replay of that one. So Turmo, I think, just a little bit too preoccupied with what was behind him. He's got yellows out in sector 2. Try and keep an eye on that, see what happens. Yeah, just in a little bit too hot. Once you get on the grass, there you go. As you go back live, and again, got yellows out. So I'm just going to have to try and cycle our way through. They've been Mishra here. And Benelli's out. Benelli is out, a race leader. So one of the, well, there's Mishra going off and into the boonies, but looks like an unfortunate internet disconnect possibly for Benelli. I'll actually try and go backwards here. I don't like bringing up this menu, but, or is he out of fuel? No, he's blown the engine. He has blown the engine too hard on the downshifts, and oh, there's flames coming out of the back of that. The manufacturer of the Tartus is not going to like that one bit, and neither will his team, because that's going to need a rebuild. And well, all his Christmases have come at once in this one. After making an early mistake, his two biggest rivals are out of this race. And, well, that means he'll certainly be leading the championship after tonight, race night 1. And Higginson and Mishra now find themselves on the podium in this one. And in fact, Higginson not too far away from Mishra. As I say that, he's going to try and put it into the fence in typical Higginson style again. He's just overdriving it. You don't have to do that, but unfortunately he does. And Turmo's actually not too far away from him, but there's just the leader between the two. So that's Will, the cart directly behind Higginson now. So Higginson's going to have to keep it nice and clean for the rest of the race if he doesn't want to find himself lapped. Because Mishra probably not going to get lapped here in this one unless he makes a mistake. With that mistake, it was actually a personal best for Higginson on that last lap. So if he didn't completely bowl it in the middle sector, it would have been a pretty handy lap time from him. But just overdriving it just a little bit too much there. In fact, there's actually something I wish R-Factor 2 did have. It's actually a little bit behind there. So we see the replay is that when you were 25 seconds back, it'd come up on replay, so I do apologise for that actually. So on this sector, again, he's a few tenths up on Mishra, but he's going to need to find a little bit extra with a hair under 5 minutes remaining now. In fact, Turmo has unlapped himself. Has Will made a mistake? He has made a mistake. That's coming out of the chicane here. What has he managed to do? No, that's turn... What turn is that? It's turn 4. So again, just a little bit overcommitted there. He was a little bit too far to the right-hand side after turn 2, and he's gone on a bit of an adventure there. It's a cutback live, so yeah, there's that gap. That's was 38 seconds to Mishra, now 29.5. Doesn't really have to drive that hard. So he wants to set the fastest lap of the race. I don't think there's any extra points for the fastest lap of the race, but still trying to get it nonetheless. And Higginson, he's going to have to pick his game up. He's made a mistake on this last lap. Turmo, he was, well, he set a 47 on that last lap, so he's travelling along quite quickly. And that gap now 2.3 seconds. So instead of Higginson looking to close up to the back of Mishra, he's completely blown that, and now he's got 3.5 minutes to try and hold on to a podium here. Oh, we got a car off. We've got a car off. I don't know who that was. And I think that's Miles again. He has hit the wall. Oh, and what's happened there? I think Higginson's hit the curb there. He's hit the curb and launched the car into the air. May have been a little bit of lag, but that elevates Sermo now into 3rd place. So just as we have a look at this replay to see what Higginson's done here. Yeah, he has. He's just hit the curb on a very awkward angle. It is a fairly high curb for an open wheel car. And, well, that's the end of that chapter. And I think that's actually Steve Warwick. That is Steve Warwick, I think, right behind him. Yes, it is. So that is for position. We do have a battle here on our hands. And is that Taipan right behind him as well? No. He's a few seconds away. The heat is on Higginson now. Might want to drop any more spots. Warwick just trying to recover at the moment. It's right on board. A little bit of aero push in these cars, so the last two turns you will see the car behind just understeer a bit. Looks like we've got Glenn Miles off again in the final sector, so he's having a bit of a struggle fest out there. But Warwick got a good run. Higginson having to go defensive and always moving around all over the place there at turn one. Just off-put Steve Warwick just a little bit. Warwick able to recover in the second part of turn one. And Higginson wide on the exit of two. Sort of bought Warwick a little bit. He's wide again, but Warwick has the better run and the better momentum. Higginson going to go defensive into the chicane. And he'll hold on to it. Warwick losing all his momentum, and he's going to have to work that a little bit harder just to catch up to the back of Higginson. Now, these guys are both a lap down, so they'll have, obviously, one lap less to sort this squabble out. Steve would want to get this move done pretty quickly if he can. But Higginson holding on for the moment. Time has expired. Race leader about to cross the start-finish line now. That is the end of the race. It isn't an extra lap. And Will Devonish blows his engine up in celebration. So that means that Higginson will come home fourth with Warwick in fifth. With Taipan, Luke and Miles also finishing in the order they're in at the moment. So we're just waiting for Mishra and Turmo to come to the line. Both of those guys have been fairly consistent these past couple of laps. That gap's not really blown out or shrunk. And Mishra will come home a solid P2. With Turmo taking P3 after Higginson's very exuberant driving style getting the better of him in the end, unfortunately. But still points for all these guys, with both Benelli and Rosella. Key DNFs in this championship. They've got a lot of work to do. With not too many rounds in this series, they're almost going to have to 1-2 out if Will finishes every race. So, just to recap, a lot of laps in this one, 43 laps, and Will Devonish takes home the bacon. With Urjit Mishra home in second, Turmo in third, Higginson coming home a lap down in fourth, with Warwick in tow, Taipan home in sixth, Luke Joyner, that is, home in seventh, Glenn Miles home number of laps down in 8th, with Benelli, Rosella and Cracker all out in this one. once again. That'll just about do us here. So just another reminder, this is the ASR FT50 challenge. Hope you've enjoyed race night 1, or pretty much race 2 of race night 1. Again, not sure how often this will be broadcast, but yeah, hope you've enjoyed the broadcast. Hopefully the drivers out there enjoyed the racing, and hopefully next time out you see a few more numbers out there. But until next time, have a